Hi, Erica.
You know what? Thank you so much for doing this with me. I wanted to ask you for some guidance because you're a yoga instructor, you're a therapist, and a lot of people are feeling really overwhelmed right now, and of course, rightly so. And hearing a lot about emotional eating. I'm hearing also about people having trouble eating.
Hmm.
And so I'm wondering sort of what strategies you might suggest when people are really just feeling so anxious. I thought maybe some grounding tools that you could
Sure.
share with us.
hmm Thank you for saying hi. It's nice to see you.
Me too.
First of all, it's not a grounding tool, but I think most important thing I can say for starters, and I'm doing it myself, is I'm really trying to maintain a sense of routine in my day.
Right. Me too.
To get up at the same time and go to bed more or less at the same time, to eat my meals and snacks at the same time, to introduce movement into my day at the same time. For me, that's during the morning.
Mhm.
And then sometimes a little brief walk at the end of the afternoon after I've finished working. And I
Mhm.
think the more we can have some structure to our day when so much is out of our control, that's grounding.
Yeah,
That's reassuring.
what I'm noticing for myself is I need physically I need to get up because I'm sitting, clients all day. I need to get up and take a walk and be out in the sun. Even if there's no sun, I need to be outside. So that's what I'm doing once a day at least. Yeah.
Right, but you're planning it and you know
Right.
you're going to do it. And
Right.
knowing it is reassuring.
Yes. Good
It's
point.
like you've made a choice, which is a sense of competency and control. I'm going to take a walk.
Right.
I am, right?
Yes.
So, really, I think people really need to remember what they care about, what their values are, and each day try to do things that support those values, right? And all of those are grounding techniques
Yes. Yes.
without getting, clinical or theoretical. Doing things that you care about feels good.
Yes.
So try to integrate that as much of those kinds of behaviors and activities in your day as possible.
You know what? I'll just say that some of, we're hearing about people are baking bread. You can't get yeast in the stores. People are buying sugar. So, I'm noticing a lot of my clients are really trying to do things that are comforting and sort of using their senses, baking bread, cooking, and being in the kitchen. So it's sort of a mixed bag because on the one hand, it's wonderful to kind of grounding yourself by cooking and smelling and tasting. But on the other hand, it can feel overwhelming to be in that kitchen all the time.
So
So
what I like to say is use your hands for healing, not harm, right?
that healing, not
So
harm.
if you're using your hands, what are you doing with them? Are you using them to eat when you're not hungry? Or are you using your hands to perhaps pick up a book or do the laundry
Mhm.
or write a letter to someone or email a letter to someone or
Use your hands.
look, you're going to laugh. Um, give yourself a nice shampoo.
Yeah, no, I like that
Take
idea.
your time to like
Yeah.
self-care behaviors.
Mhm.
But really in the height of anxiety, when people are really struggling to like regulate their reactions to things, anxiety is fear, it's adrenaline, right? So we
Right,
have to quiet down that part of the brain, which is in fight or flight. We
right.
know one of the most effective ways to do that is to slow down the heart rate by
Mhm.
breathing deeply
Right.
and slowing down our breath. So a nice simple grounding technique is to sit anywhere you are and know if you're in the kitchen,
Mhm.
put your hands down, flat on the counter, deep breath in, and start to say out loud 10, 15, 20 things you see in your room. Maybe it's like I'm looking around my room, I see a calendar, I see thread, I see the daffodils, I see my teacup, I see fabric. I see outside the window there's more daffodils. I see a tree. I see a heater. I see artwork on the wall. I see my computer. I see an iron. I see a pen. I see my phone. Guess
Wow.
what?
That's a lot of,
I'm
yeah,
not thinking about myself anymore.
you're right.
I've redirected all of my attention and now I'm back in the room. So take a minute and do that for yourself. Notice how you feel before you do it. What do you notice you're feeling right now?
Well, you know what? I am feeling a little anxious. So, and now as I talk about it more, I'm getting anxious. So I'm going to do that.
Hands down.
Take a deep breath.
Your hands are pushing down. They're grounded on something
Pushing down,
firmly.
pushing down on the desk.
Breathe. Start noticing things in the room.
I noticed a cookbook. I noticed a microphone. I notice a yellow duck is on their desk. I notice a stapler. I notice a chair. I notice my shoes. I notice the basket, the laundry basket. Why is that in my office? I notice something on the wall. I notice the clock. I notice a picture that says we come in all shapes and sizes. I love that. I notice a book that says Diet Survivor's Handbook. Notice a back scratcher. And I am calmed down. Thank you.
Smiling and you're laughing.
I am. Well, I'm ending with my back scratcher.
I'm going to ask you a question. Seriously, how different does your breath feel?
It feels different.
But the other reason why we say out loud what we're noticing is when we're talking, we don't think about our breathing. It's natural.
Yes.
So you have to speak.
Yes.
You're speaking. You're just breathing. You're not paying attention to anything.
Yes.
Your breathing is happening naturally. We don't. It's a biological phenomenon. It just happens.
Yes.
So we can slow down our breath when we go. I know, and to speak a little slower.
Yes.
I notice the mug. I notice the desk. I notice the fan. Whatever. But we're not thinking about breathing. We just do it.
Okay. And can I just say what I also like is that pushing down.
Rounding your hand, making a connection with something. Along those lines, another really lovely grounding technique is called the butterfly hug. And this can be done different ways depending on how you're built, right? So I like to do it up here. For some people, if their bodies are larger and they have bigger bosoms or breasts, that might be awkward. So what you can do then is lightly touch your collarbone.
Oh, I like that.
So, and let's do it that way. You can do it this way, or you can do it here.
Well, you know that I have big boobs.
So you do here, and I'll do here. This is a really, really nice grounding technique. So we're going to gently and very slowly tap, tap, tap. And as we tap, we're going to try to imagine a safe place that we've been to before, that we know brings up images and feelings of joy and safety and security. It could be a pet. It could be a beautiful beach you go to. It could be, your own living room. So see what you come up with. But the tapping is nice and slow. And we're tapping to send signals to the brain that the left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain is saying hello to each other, integrating, working together, writing down sympathetic nervous system, and just tap, tap. I am safe. I am loved. I am here.
Yeah. I am safe. I
am healthy enough.
I am here.
And then we can go beyond that. We are safe. We are loved. We are healthy. Give yourself a little squeeze or pressure. Make that connection. Big breath in, slowly exhale. Take a minute to let that land and see how that feels.
Feels good.
And the other last thing I would say, another really sweet, easy technique to ground yourself is write yourself a love letter. Take a minute to write yourself all the things that you love about yourself today, or love enough about yourself, or like enough about yourself. And if you can't do that, write it to someone you know needs to hear it.
Okay.
So we're getting out of our heads and into our hearts, grounding ourselves by writing, putting pen to paper. Really write it out, not the computer. Write it out, get it out. And if you find as you're doing this, maybe you're not feeling so loving, right? There's some fear stuff that's coming out. Let it go. Write it all out. Get rid of it.
You know what? I have an image. I'm going to write it out, and then I'm going to crumple it up and throw it away.
Well, I was just going to say, and then shred it. Goodbye. Or imagine it's floating down a stream.
You know what? I've learned that from you, that image of having a worry and letting it go on a leaf on the stream.
Leaves on a stream.
On a stream going down. I love that. I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have you in my brain all the time.
I have you in my heart all the time. So I hope this is a little bit helpful.
No, I really appreciate it. This was very
Hands are for healing, not harm.
Healing, not harm. Hands are for healing, not harm. Thank you.
And anybody who's having a hard time with their food, I get it. It's hard. And
It is hard.
sometimes we use food for comfort.
And
That's not the worst thing in the world either.
it's not, and it makes sense.